How you doing, YouTube? Matt with NEPA Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. And today, we're joined by a bunch of friends, drinking good beer, reviewing beer, talking about beer, and seeing a bunch of weird stuff. So, first off, I'm Matt.
Joe.
Amanda.
Brad.
And we like beer. I do the whole NEPA Beer Reviews thing. Joe is NEPA Beer Reviews. Talk about that for a hot minute.
NEPABeerReviews.squarespace.com. Find some written reviews for myself and Amanda. Amanda needs to get on it a little bit more.
Okay.
But who said that?
I do pictures of microwaves.
He does.
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
Sexy microwaves.
Yep.
Sexy Microwave is another great name for a beer. I'll write that down. And it is. It's still a great name for a beer. Anyway, today we're going to be doing a one-off beer by Tröegs Brewery. If you've watched any of our previous reviews, you'll know we're in northeastern Pennsylvania, and close to that is Hershey, Pennsylvania, and in Hershey, Pennsylvania is the brewery Tröegs. Best known for a lot of their beers, Nugget Nectar, Troganator, a bunch of beers, but they do a lot of one-offs. Well, they started doing a lot of one-off stuff. They've always done like a scratch program.
Yeah, they've had scratch series beers, like brewery releases, you know. Stuff that's on tap for a while now.
For a while now, but they just started, it seems like they've gotten into barrel aging on the real. Like on the serious.
That's their Splinter series, which
yes.
is what this beer comes
Which is
out
this. And that is their bourbon barrel aged Flying Mouflan. Now, their Flying Mouflan, I have a little history with this beer. I never had it before. I was doing a judge for a competition at a festival in my area, and it was the first time I had it, and I loved it. It was the beer that won for me in judging, and after I judged it, I loved it so much I actually went and I'm like, what is this beer that I just judged? You know what I mean? I'm like, I want more of it, and they told me. I went and got some, and the beer I judged, you could tell had a little time on it already, and the ones that I got were newer. Yeah. So, it's American Barleywine. It's a little hop forward.
If I could tell my own flying.
And we'll get there for a second. Relax.
All right.
Relax.
Just for a second.
Frankie says relax.
Yeah.
There's no Frank involved, but anyway. So I picked up a bunch of bottles, about a half case or so. Drank one, drank two, drank a couple, and decided they needed to sit. Now, about I would say 6 months ago, I cracked one a 3-year-old bottle. I really liked it, but it still needed a little bit of time for me. Now let's segue to yours.
So my Flying Mouflan story. Myself and my buddy Will reviewed this beer. And then we went to the first, I think it was either the first or the second Electric City Brewfest.
Local Brewfest, right?
Yeah, and so we're there, and my friend Will and Sean are in front of the Tröegs stand. And now they had, for like, I guess their VIP series, for like the VIP session, they had Flying Mouflan to pour. So Will sees the bottle and goes, "Oh, Joe and I reviewed that." Well, the guy heard them, was like, "Wait, what? You reviewed this?" And so they call any beer related question, they would just scan the crowd, find me, and then start yelling for me to come over to answer this. So, fast forward to the end of the festival, I'm drinking the last pour of Heresy from Weyerbacher, and the guy from the Tröegs stand comes up to me and goes, "You good for a beer?" I'm looking at my glass. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." He's like, No. You good for a beer?" I'm like, "Oh, yes, I am." Brought us to the back of his Jeep and just handed me an entire case of Nugget Nectar.
Yeah, that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
That doesn't suck
just was like, "Here you go." Case of Nugget Nectar.
That's a bad story.
Yeah. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
Horrible story.
And so what we're saying is A's all around for free. No. But no, I mean, that's fantastic. You know what I mean? The fact that you went down there, you drank the beer, and they're like, "Hey, man, thanks for reviewing a beer," and they threw a beer like that at you. Then a lot of people covet. You guys have any Mouflan stories?
No, I do not. I've had it in the past. I don't really remember much about it because it was a couple years ago. I think it was our first Tröegs visit when I had it the first time.
Mine is actually at Joe's house. We had a small little bottle share there, and you brought the 3-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I think it was us plus 2 or 3 other people. Yeah, great little night. I think we killed about 10 bottles.
Yeah, so everything was good.
Yeah, but I said that was my first taste of it. It was a 3-year-old, I think, which was the one that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Did maybe need a little bit more time. It was good, but it wasn't like blow me away fantastic.
And what happened was about a week ago, I was going on a beer run, a lengthy beer run. I was going to get in my car and drive around, and literally when I was getting my stuff together to leave my house, someone texted me that this was being released. I knew it was coming out, but I didn't know it was being released, and it was on a Monday, and I had Mondays off naturally, and the person's like, hey, this just came out, and the brewery's about an hour, 20 minutes away from me, and they're like, do you know anybody who lives there? And I said, screw it, I'm just going to drive. And I just got my car and drove down, and I picked up a bunch, so here we are. We're going to review it. As far as what it says in a bottle, independent craft brewery, Tröegs Flying Mouflan, Barleywine ale aged in bourbon barrels, bottle conditioned, 13.4% alcohol.
It seems a little
It's higher than what it was.
Than the original.
Is there a Mouflan bottle?
Over there to your right,
there's
by the road.
so that,
9.3.
yeah. So you're
So
talking about
4%.
4% gain. Yeah,
But that was 3 years in barrel.
yes, it's 3 years in barrel. This beer spent 3 years in barrel, so you can understand why it gained. Flying Mouflan is highly carbonated. Hold chalice and pour in the center of glass. Whatever. I'm gonna pour it the way I want it. Don't tell me how to pour my beers. As far as the story, the rich russet brown coats and deep raisin-colored eyes of Flying Mouflans invoke an essence of this barrel-aged creation, rooted in dark, musty cellars of brewers past. These rumored gatekeepers of Barleywine ale sprouted wings, signifying the ale's maturity. Unlock bold notes of hops, dipped in candied sugar and rolled in cocoa nibs, soaked in lush overtones of vanilla, tangy raisin, and decadent chocolate. So yeah, label-wise, love it. The whole cork and cage line from Tröegs actually is awesome. Like the labels to the bottle shape, the whole nine. They're very reminiscent, kind of your Lost Abbey, older viscosity kind of bottling, but everything
like
about
Russian River,
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's super dense, thick bottles. Everything about it is cool. The labeling, everything. So there you go. But
I do like how they have 735 mil and then put it into our normal 12.7 fluid ounces instead of the fucking wizard units.
yeah, wizard units.
Yeah.
You shall not pass. But yeah, I mean that's the only thing we'll get in the whole value availability thing. It's a one-off series, but it's a little butt pucker and expensive, I guess you could say. But you're talking about a beer that spent 3 years in a barrel, so you can't really fault people for
honestly
charging.
I kind of feel like we were there maybe 3-4 years ago
When they bottled it.
Probably no, when they put it into the barrel.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like when they bottled the line that you drank,
Yeah.
the fresh.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing when I was down there, as I spilled some on the fucking counter.
Yeah, why not waste it?
When I was down there, I talked to the brewer, and not the brewer, but one of the
Employees
there. Yeah, that's all you get. So, sorry if I shorted people, but I talked to him, and I didn't know it was in 3 years until he told me. The fact that it spent 3 years in the barrel, impressive in itself. I mean, not a lot of people barrel age stuff to that.
No, not
so. Head-wise,
year.
it's a gigantic head. Look at that.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
it's
like 5 fingers, and
it is.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
going.
It's
The
spent
tapering on my glass. It's just.
Yeah, it's spent 3 years in a barrel. You don't expect much from that. But if you actually give it a nice swirl, you get a little bit of carbonation going on, which is nice.
There's
You know
some
what I mean?
foam.
You know, if you give it a vigorous run, you'll
I mean,
get a
all
little
right,
bit
here's-
going on there.
Very rocky peaks.
As far as color, I mean, that is dark. It's darker than the actual regular Mouflan.
Looks like
but yeah.
licorice.
Here's just pouring it. Like one person. That's Rob. That picked up the bottle for him.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you would expect.
I smell a lot of vanilla.
It's
Do you guys-
bourbon and vanilla and oak
It's just-
out the ass.
It's got that-
It's like gigantic.
It's got that like reminiscing on like that old caramel,
Yeah.
that like
It's
Bourbon County.
Like you're
and
in a
stuff from the brewery.
you're in
Yeah,
a barrel. You're in a bourbon barrel, and they're actually like torching it while your head is inside the barrel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's super rich, super dense. It's actually like crazy barrel character. Not over off-putting or huge to the point where you're like, wow, that's all you're getting. It's just absolutely beautiful. So it smells great. Let's dive right in.
Cheers.
cheers.
I get
You
a
know-
lot of caramel off of this one.
I was gonna say for 3 years in the barrel, like you would think it's just gonna be punching in the face bourbon, but it's not.
No.
It's really toned down. It's really smooth. You know, it's like you said, caramels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the vanilla's there. It's not what I would expected for 3 years.
Not at all.
It has this. You get the bourbon, you get the barrel, you get the vanilla, you get the caramel, you get the whole nine. Zero hops whatsoever. And Flying Mouflan was kind of very hop forward, but then you get this. You get
It
this.
is a very hop forward.
You get this
Barleywine.
alcohol bite that builds, and you think it's going to actually like bite, but then it stops right before it actually bites you. So it gives you this warmth. It tells you that the booze is there, but then it stops before it actually like snaps at you. It's like, it's just this is what I want. This is what I like in barrel aged beers. Is just a huge barrel character. It has that like almost like it's like particles of wood almost floating in there, and it feels like it's like if you grind it up to ever so finest pieces.
This
of
is
wood.
what I think. You know, we're talking. I'm gonna start talking about two completely different styles here.
Works for me.
All right, this is what Black Tuesday should be,
Yeah,
Without being just alcohol in the face. And
without being
19%.
whiskey. This is what if they scale. Little plug for my website here. Check out my big review that I did for Black Tuesday, Grey Monday, Mocha Wednesday, and Chocolate Rain on our website, nepabeerreviews.squarespace.com. I talked about being able to try all of those beers at the same time. If you scale down the alcohol to this level, this is 13.4%. So I'm not saying scale it down to a 9% beer. Scale it down to this percentage. If you get this is what those beers should be. This is enjoyable. This is not, I take a sip, my lips are still burning because of the alcohol.
They only come in at 19%, right?
Yeah, it's like 18, 19%.
Yeah,
it's like
It's sessionable.
it's
is.
it's the life lesson that like they put that beer in front of you, you drink it, and then you go like this, put that down, go like this, and go. Sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
it. That's all.
Exactly.
It is. Yeah.
And like even in my big review for all of those beers, I said like drop it down to like a Bourbon County strength, like 14%. You're not going to lose too much, but it'll be a little bit more palatable.
Yeah, it's just a great beer. I mean, it's actually quite a departure from the Flying Mouflan because there's so much barrel character, but it's still there in essence. It actually tastes like we were talking about. We did a review earlier about Pizza Boys. What was the
Bender Barley.
Bender Barleywine, and how that would be a perfect barrel aged beer. That's what I feel like Flying Mouflan was. A perfect barrel aging beer, and I think they did right by it by doing that. So,
I mean, this is English style barley wine,
but it's American before when
base
yeah.
of an American style.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
It's
It's
in its
crazy.
purest form, it was an American barley wine, but it was meant to be barrel aged, and that's it in the grand scheme of things. What do you guys think?
When I started drinking beer, I used to think I wasn't a big barley wine person, and that's because I started with Bigfoot, which I thought was horrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. But today's kind of like really like drilling it into my head that I might be a barley wine person because I'm really enjoying this. You know those candies that are like caramel with vanilla in the middle?
Yes. You actually it's like white and brown.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that kind of flavor, but with the barrel quality to it.
Yeah, well, Bigfoot was your favorite. That's like saying
isn't that
oh,
sad?
you like cinnamon? Here, eat the spoonful of cinnamon. That's what it like. That's like be like, oh, I had cinnamon once, and I thought the flavor was going to be like, do a cupful of cinnamon in your mouth, and then you die. That's Bigfoot.
I like
That's
Bigfoot.
What that is.
I like Bigfoot.
What is it, 8 to 10 years on it, maybe?
About a year. About a year for me, and it was...
I had it fresh at a bar, and I'm like, this is disgusting.
And I actually really love the beer. I do, but I need minimum 5 per 8 years on the bottles. I think I have a 2010 in the kitchen. I just don't even want to fuck with it for another 4 or 5 years. Yeah. But
I'm bringing.
I think today, like, just building on what Amanda said, is, you kind of have these preconceptions of the beers that you drink or the ones that you like. This has really opened up just barley wines for me. What they're capable of doing, what you can do. I would honestly love to see this beer. Like I said, I had the 3-year-old that you brought to the tasting that we had. I would love to see what they could do with this beer in other barrels. I mean, bourbon barrel is just, it's everywhere. You see it everywhere.
It's everywhere because it's so fucking... Probably,
it's
so easy to get a bourbon barrel.
Because in America, we drink a whole shit ton of whiskey. And it's all bourbon.
They can't use a bourbon barrel twice.
Yeah.
So once that shit's out of the barrel, they have to do something with the barrel.
But I think, like, Flying Mouflan, the base, ages... Like, it's just saying, age me in a barrel. Like, I would love to see it in rum. Or Madeira. Or port. Or something. Just... And maybe that's what Tröegs is going to do. Maybe they're going to go that route. They're going to expand their aging program. But, like I said, it's just... I'm like what Joe was saying, it's 13%. It's right in the wheelhouse of where you want it. It's not 18%, 19%. That you're going to just, like, have a sip and go, okay, well, I'm going to get messed up if I finish the rest of this. I said we're at the tail end of drinking way too many beers. So 13% right now is actually pretty smooth. But
we're at the tail end of drinking too many...
We're at the tail end of drinking just the right amount of beers.
Yeah. Watch your mouth.
Yeah. Okay. But like I said, I think it's a great beer that just picks up those flavors. It picks up those flavors from the barrel that you want them to pick up. Mm-hmm. And I would love to see it in other forms.
Yeah. I mean, like we did previous reviews. Rum barrel aging doesn't get as much play. One of my
3 years in a rum barrel would probably do so much.
I'd have a beer gasm or something.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite non-uber aged beer of all time is North Coast Old Stock Cellar Reserve, and that is their 2011 version is aged in brandy barrels. I don't see any brandy barrel aging. Sans a few companies. So eventually it's going to progress towards that.
Yeah.
There's only so many barrels to go around. So people are going to have to just by default try other barrels.
Yeah.
But once brewers get in line, instead of being like you've touched on a bunch of times, instead of just producing a beer and throwing it in a barrel, and be like, okay, I want to make this beer in this barrel, and then know what they're doing, and create a beer that's going to work well, in a barrel. You'll start seeing amazing, beautiful stuff. Yeah. So, rating-wise, did we do the whole rating? I think I give it a 94.
Yeah, I'm about there.
94.
As well.
90, 95.
Yeah, right in there. I said it hits all the notes. It's everything you want
And you're just kind of plucking hairs there. So we all love it. Is basically what we're saying.
Really.
Value, it was $12.50 a bottle. That kind of sucks. Three, what is it? 375 milliliters. 12-ounce beer, just a skosh over. It is what it is. But it's spent 3 years in a barrel. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's not gonna be.
Yeah, it's not gonna be cheap.
It's not gonna be a cheap beer.
Availability, 1 because
Brewery only.
Brewery only. So there you go. We reviewed a beer that we said we loved, and now you can't get. So we're assholes.
I got 2 bottles.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to trade.
Stop
Looking for Westbrook Mexican cake, Dark Lords. No.
Just going. If you go in a beer advocate, click most wanted beers and whatever. Anyway, if you liked the review, if you hated it, whatever, let us know because then I'll argue or not talk. If you want to check us out anywhere else on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped, Massive Beers in all 4 of those places. And,
You can check myself and Amanda out at nepabeerreviews.squarespace.com. Also on Instagram and Twitter at NEPA Beer Reviews.
And I'm on Instagram, thegeneral451. I don't like talking about beers that much, but you can see my microwave and some beers in front of it.
Some excellent pictures
and
of microwave.
actually, you might see some updates about British soccer too.
and where do you live?
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
No, where do you live?
I live in a fantasy world.
No, where do you live?
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
In a Van Dappen River. And, so hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Hopefully, you're drinking a beautiful beer like this one. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.